Hey everyone, it's the Four Gun Guy, and I'm really excited today to do a review of the EC tuner from Erik Cortina on my Vudoo V22. Now, as you recall, I just put a video out on the KSS ATS tuner that I had installed on this, and you can see that review. I'll put it up here somewhere as well. Well, apparently Erik saw my review of his large caliber tuner brake that I did for my 6.5 Creedmoor, and then he saw the video on the KSS ATS. I've got to keep all these acronyms straight. And he emailed me and he said, hey, you know, I make a tuner for the 22. And I said, yeah, I was thinking about getting one, just trying it out. Well, he just sent it to me, so I really appreciate that. It's actually the first free product I've received to review, so I'm kind of pumped about that. I did tell him it would be an honest review, and I promise you all it will be an honest review. But I put it on, and so far it's worked really, really well. What I want to go over with quickly is I want to talk about this tuner and what you want to actually look for when you're looking at these various tuners. Then I want to show you how to install it real quickly. Then we're going to do some shot analysis from with no tuner and then this tuner. I may throw in the KSS. I don't know. I don't even know if I still have those targets. I'll have to look for them. But so let's do that, and we'll have some final thoughts, and it'll be a short video probably. So hey, if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Well, look, I'm not going to bore you with an unboxing. It's pretty simple. This thing comes in a small box in some prescription pill boxes with some padding in them. That's it, and two suckers. So I like the simplicity of it. What I did want to talk to you about, and you're going to see this when I install it, but real quickly I want to talk to you about some differences between this tuner and other tuners, or other tuners and this tuner. So for example, the KSS ATS, when I put that on, what we saw was that it kind of sits back on the barrel, right? It comes over the crown there, and then you just screw on your protector, and that keeps that on. This is a bit different, as you will see when I do the installation, in that you don't use the protector anymore. So this has an extension, and then you fit the tuner over that extension, and that's what you adjust on. What does that mean? Well, it means that you won't be able to use a suppressor or a brake with this EC tuner. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care about that because I don't use a brake or a suppressor on my V22 Vudoo. And one reason I don't is because a suppressor will stick out 4 to 6 inches. And there's another video that I did that shows me in a 3-foot in diameter pipe trying to shoot out some portholes in that, and that became messy with a longer rifle. So that's why I don't do a suppressor. Muzzle brake, this rifle doesn't need one, so I just didn't put one on there. This tuner will stick out about 1.5 inches. Not bad, so I don't think that's a big deal. The other thing I like about this tuner is it adds a little more weight than at least the ATS had. The ATS, I think, was 5 ounces. This is 9.2 or something like that. So I like the weight at the end of the barrel. I like that weight because, as you know, we're trying to find that balance point, and a lot of times it's back here because of everything that's back in the back of this rifle. So I like that extra weight. Easy to configure, easy to install, as you'll see here in a minute. But I wanted to just kind of talk about that, the one thing. If you're looking at putting a suppressor or a brake on there, this may not be for you then. I did email Erik about that, and he said he's looking at a design that would allow a brake or a suppressor to be installed. So we'll see. Maybe that's down the road if he has success with this. So let's go ahead and get to the installation. All right, well, let's look at the contents here, and then we're going to do a quick mounting. So look, this comes in a box. You've got the tuner itself and then the adapter. I like the fact that they just come in these little prescription bottles. That's kind of cool. And so there you go, the unboxing. There's two things. We got a couple suckers in there. And so now it's pretty straightforward. Now you may need some shims, but I don't know that you will. I won't need some, I don't think. So basically what we're doing is we're taking this adapter, and this is really going to take us from these half-inch threads to a 5/8 inch thread. I'm going to come in here, take my crescent wrench, if I can operate it correctly, and I'm going to tighten that down. That's it. So then all we're going to do is we're going to tighten this down, and there we go. And we're going to start at 0 according to Erik, and then you've got, get this here, then you've got Allen screws here that you will tighten and untighten as you start to tune this down. So tomorrow when we get to the range, I'll probably start, out here at, I'll put a mark at the top of the barrel. Now I have one that came with the ATS tuner, and you can see something a little different here as well. Remember, this ATS tuner sat back, right? It sat back kind of over the barrel here. The EC tuner actually sits out in front of the barrel. So again, it adds not only a little more weight from a weight perspective. This is 9 ounces, this is 5.1 ounces, but it actually adds a little more, if you're looking at this from a fulcrum perspective, a little more weight further out, which to me, again, is good. So tomorrow what I'll do is I'll mark the top of the barrel, although it's got this mark on it here, so I may just use that. I'm going to start at 0. We're going to shoot 2 shots, and I'll probably go in, these are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are four or 5 marking increments. So I'll probably start there and start bringing this out, and then we'll see where we can get some tuning. And then when we're done with that, basically what Erik says is you want to tighten these down. You don't want to torque them way down really hard because they've got those, let me show that to you. If you look on the end here, you could probably see that. It's got this nylon tip, which I think is pretty, that's a pretty cool feature there. So you're not screwing up the threads on that adapter. So that's the mounting. That's it. I mean, it's pretty darn simple. Just to recap here, no shims. I like the nylon threads, and just like the KSS ATS, I did not need a gunsmith to mount this thing. So there we go. Well, let's get to the shot analysis. I'm going to kind of keep this short and sweet. I hope. I have a lot of targets with a lot of holes in them. Here's what it's going to boil down to. If you watch my other videos on the Vudoo V22, I have been using SK Match as my competition round. Based on what I found out with this rifle and this tuner, I'm actually switching to Center X. Now, another big reason I'm switching to Center X is I have about 3 times more Center X right now than I have of SK Match. And I don't want to go through the whole process of shooting out the SK Match, and then by the end of the year, I've got to redo this all over again for the Center X. They seem to be really fairly close together at 50 yards, which means when I had set this tuner up at, say, setting 19.3 for the SK Match, the Center X was pretty close to that. But then I started to see things opening up on the SK match as I went out, and I saw things tighten up on the Center X as I went out. So I ended up with a setting here of, I think 24 is what I settled on, yes. So setting of 24, and I'll put this up here just to show you that that was a pretty good one hole group. And then I had a bunch of different targets that I had set out there, and I went on either side of the 24 just to make sure. And that's what you're wanting to do here, guys. You're wanting to, once you get that group, that one hole group, now you want to go either side of that with the tuner and on any tuner to make sure that from 24 to 23, 23 doesn't open up to an inch or 2 inches, or 25 doesn't open up to an inch or 2 inches. You want those groups to be pretty close across, say, 3 markings or 2 or 3 markings on the tuner. That just shows you that you're in that range. And I think Erik talks about that on his video. But anyway, some pretty darn good groups here at 50 yards. Now I went out to 100 yards then, and I'm gonna get these and show you these. This was a target from another time, but I put two targets in the middle here, and I'll put these up here as well. The SK match here looked pretty good. Now I'm going to tell you this was a windy day, so here's what I'm doing. You're going to hear me say the vertical spread was this. I took wind out of it because it was 12, 13, 14 miles an hour crosswind, and when you're getting out to 250 yards with a 22 with that kind of wind, it's not going to be stable as far as horizontal goes. So here's what I wanted to do. Show you that the SK match at 100 yards it had a vertical of 0.95 inches. This was the group, and I'll put this up here. The Center X had a vertical of 0.7 inches, and the horizontal was actually a better group as well. Then I went another 100 yards with the Center X because something was just telling me the Center X was going to be nice. 2 shots at 100 yards, 2 different strings. 2 shots a string, but still 2 different strings. And you can see that they were just almost right on top of each other. These are 0.22, 0.20 groups at 100 yards. So that was good. Then I went out to 200 yards. Now, I want to say that 200 yards, from the video that I did on all the 6 cartridges without a tuner on this Vudoo, my vertical spread with the SK match was 2.23 inches in this group. My vertical spread with the Center X was 2.72 inches, so it was actually worse than the SK match. Well, with the tuner on there, I actually shot a group with the SK match of 2.13 vertical spread, which still is not bad at 200 yards. Then I shot these 2 groups of Center X. The one vertical is 1.12 inches at 200 yards. This group, this is only a 4-shot group, but this group is 0.45 inches vertical at 200 yards. This is when I started to look at these 2 cartridges and say, I think Center X is going to be it for me. Finally, I went out to 250 yards, get all this stuff out of here, and at 250 yards, and again, I'll put these up there so you can see them, the vertical spread on the SK match was 2.88 inches, so, you know, it's there. Guys, the vertical spread on the Center X was 1.8 inches. 1.8 inches. And actually this group was 1.8 inches even horizontally. And I had 2 shots that were right on top of each other right here as you'll see. So that's why I was very happy with those results, because I have a lot of Center X, so it's going to run really well in this thing. and just really impressed. So with all that said, yeah, I think that the results speak for themselves. Let's go on to final thoughts. Well, let's talk final thoughts here. I'm going to make a statement here about this tuner and the KSS ATS. I told you earlier that, look, if you're going to put a brake or a suppressor on the on your rifle, then you're probably going to want to go with something like the KSS tuner, because you can do that. You can't do that with the EC tuner. It didn't matter to me, right? Price-wise, they're close. I think the EC is about $45 more. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's worth it from a quality perspective. The build quality of this, in my opinion, is better than the KSS. I would be saying that if I paid retail for this thing. So I'm not saying it because Erik sent this to me. And I really appreciate that, but that's not why I'm saying it. The engineering and design thought that went into this, with the Teflon tips on these set screws so you don't screw up the threads on that on the piece underneath it, that just tells me that there's thought that goes into this design. The numbers are easier to use, and let's face it, once I set this thing, I'm probably not going to have to mess with it until I get a different lot of ammo. Then I'm just going to verify that that lot shoots as good as the current lot that I'm on, and I number all my lots. Right now I have 3 different lots of Center X. So once I go through those, then we'll see. I am sending this off to the Lapua Testing Center next month, and after that I'll probably get 5,000 to 10,000 rounds of Center X, and it'll all be the same lot. So I shouldn't have to be dealing with any changes to this for a long time. So with all that said, we saw that at distance, at 250 yards, this thing did tighten up the groups considerably, right? And that's what matters to me. Some people may say, you don't even need the tuner on a Vudoo V22, right? It's that good right out of the box. And look, I agree with you. I agree. But you saw the groups that got tightened up here out at distance. From 50 to 100 yards, did it make that big of a deal? Probably not. I've punched single holes with 2, 3, 4 rounds with this thing without a tuner on it at 50 yards. It's worked great. I have noticed though that when we're shooting out at 250, 300, 400 yards, which we went out to in our last match, I was off. And the only thing that I could think was going to bring it back would be a tuner, and I think this is going to do it for me. So again, eliminating all the variables on the equipment, so the problem is the Indian and not the arrow, right? So that's why I do all this stuff. So I like the EC tuner a lot. I'm going to keep it on there. I am going to run Center X instead of SK Match going forward. And yeah, I hope this video helped you. If you're on the fence on these two, look at the KSS video that I did and then rewatch this one, or there might be some other alternatives out there. But for right now, I'm sticking with the EC tuner. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I appreciate the subscriptions, likes, comments. It's really, really going well, and I appreciate it. And until next time, shoot straight.